The toughest money you'll ever make is the first $100,000. It isn't poetic, it's physics. Starting from zero means every push feels useless. Nothing times anything is still nothing. It's like leaning your whole body into a boulder that refuses to move. At first, all you get is sore muscles and doubt. Then, inch by inch, the rock shifts. Momentum builds. Suddenly the same laws that punished you start helping you. I learned that the hard way. I was born in 1924 and grew up watching the Great Depression turn proud families into beggars. Banks failed. Farms vanished. My grandfather lost everything. My father, a lawyer, couldn't collect from clients who had nothing to pay. I saw financial weakness up close. The stress, the arguments, the quiet shame. I decided young that I'd rather live with money than without, not because of greed, but because helplessness is a miserable way to exist. Here's the catch. Getting to that first $100,000 requires behavior most people won't tolerate. You save when it feels pointless. You invest when the numbers look laughably small. You ignore new car smell and shiny toys financed at 8%. You live like a monk in a world addicted to costume jewelry wealth. Put $1,000 in the bank and it spits back $20. Hardly inspiring. That's where people quit. They'd rather feel rich for a weekend than sow seeds for 10 years. But math doesn't care how you feel. Small, repeated, boring decisions pile up. Save $1,000 a month for 10 years, earn a plain 7%, and you're staring at roughly $140,000. That crosses a line. 10% on $100,000 is $10,000, no longer beer money. Now your capital has a voice. You finally see compounding not as a quote on a poster, but as a machine that works for you while you sleep. Most never get there, not because they can't, but because they're impatient. They want shortcuts and sizzle. They gamble in casinos designed to skin them or chase hot stocks they couldn't explain to a fifth grader. They confuse luck with skill and motion with progress. Wealth, in reality, is survival plus time. Stay solvent long enough, and compounding does the heavy lifting. Think of it this way. The first $100,000 is digging through wet cement with a spoon. Every scoop looks meaningless. Your back hurts. You doubt yourself. Then, one day, the texture changes. You're not shoveling cement anymore. You're slicing warm butter. The resistance collapses. What felt impossible starts to feel inevitable. The habits that get you there are the habits that keep you rich. Live below your means. Save like a pessimist who expects storms. Invest like an optimist who believes humanity solves problems over time. Ignore the noise and the hucksters promising speed without sacrifice. None of this is complicated. It is just hard, because it runs against the culture and your impulses. I've said it before. No one can help you if you don't save. Spend every dollar and there's nothing to compound. Not Buffett, not me, not the gods can fix that arithmetic. The secret, if there is one, is to be slightly less foolish than average for a long time. Don't envy neighbors. Don't finance depreciating toys. Don't chase tips from people who can't define free cash flow. Do the simple things repeatedly and the first $100,000 arrives. The next $100,000 arrives faster, and momentum becomes your partner. When I was a young lawyer in Los Angeles, I wasn't rich. I had no inheritance, just sturdy values and a vivid fear of poverty. I saved every month anyway. I bought businesses I understood. I rented modestly. I refused to perform for people I didn't respect with money I didn't have. Discipline became habit. Habit became autopilot. Once saving is automatic, the pain fades and the progress compounds. Is $100,000 rich? Of course not. In today's dollars, it might barely feel middle class, but it proves something more valuable than the money. It proves you can delay gratification in a world that worships the immediate. Discipline is rarer than talent and worth more over a lifetime. If you're under 40 and broke, don't despair, but don't lie to yourself either. You need to save until it stings. You need to tolerate being the cheap one. You need to hold your head high when friends mock your old car and those expensive restaurants pass you by. The compounding machine does not reward clever quips or social approval. It rewards stubborn, boring consistency. Let's talk about the most self-defeating habit of all: envy. It's the dumbest sin because honestly, you don't even get a moment of pleasure from it. Gluttony gives you a good meal, lust gives you a thrill, greed might even make you money. Envy offers only pain. I've watched it wreck promising careers. A brilliant colleague couldn't stand that others were getting rich faster. Instead of staying in his lane, he chased every fad, every can't-miss deal. He lost the plot, then the money, then the reputation. Envy pushes you into games you don't understand against players who know more than you. You start buying things you never wanted to impress people who aren't even watching. You mistake liabilities for status and bleed out quietly. Kill the envy impulse and you'll save more, and you'll cross the first $100,000 sooner. Cross that line, and you'll stop caring what the Joneses drive because, well, your assets will be doing the talking. Another confession. One of the most expensive errors of my life was selling too early. I bought a great business at a fair price, then took profits when it doubled, felt very wise, sold more after another leg up, felt wiser still. The company went on to 10x, then 20x. That wisdom cost me a fortune. The hard part of investing isn't buying, it's sitting through boredom, sitting through headlines, sitting through the itch to be clever. The big money isn't in the buying or the selling, it's in the waiting. So ask, before you hit sell, has the business deteriorated or is my brain just hungry for action? Most of the time, it's the latter. Activity feels like control, patience feels like passivity, but activity is often the enemy of returns. Stillness lets compounding do its quiet work. Closely related, learn to say, "I don't know." It's the most profitable sentence in finance. The world is full of confident amateurs who read a headline and think they can forecast oil, AI, interest rates, and geopolitics before lunch. They build portfolios on opinions they haven't earned and wonder why reality doesn't cooperate. Build a circle of competence, a boundary around what you actually understand. Live inside it. Pass on almost everything. You don't have to be omniscient, you just have to avoid big, dumb errors. Now let's address the mindset that keeps most people comfortably stuck: careerism. Climbing titles, polishing resumes, chasing applause. None of that compounds. It pays the bills. It rarely builds wealth. The people who got truly rich weren't the ones with the fanciest job descriptions. They were the ones who owned things, shares of great companies, pieces of productive real estate, businesses that earned while they slept. You don't need to quit your job to think like an owner. You do need to redirect surplus cash from lifestyle inflation into assets that throw off cash and grow. Ownership is optional only if you're willing to trade time for money forever. The Depression taught me one more rule: cash equals survival. When the tide goes out, nobody is obligated to save you. Keep a margin of safety. Treat debt like a venomous snake. Most fortunes that died in the 1930s were killed not by volatility, but by leverage. If you owe money on tomorrow's assumptions and tomorrow misbehaves, you meet the margin clerk. Avoid that meeting. If you stitch these ideas together, a simple plan emerges. Live on less than you earn. Save whether markets are singing or sulking. Buy understandable, durable assets. Sit on your hands. Shun envy. Admit ignorance quickly. Prefer ownership to optics. Keep debt on a short leash. Do this long enough and the first $100,000 shows up. Keep doing it, and you'll wonder why so many smart people stayed broke trying to look rich. So here's the real question. Will you choose a little discomfort now? Saying no, saving hard, staying patient, so you don't live with a lifetime of financial discomfort later, because you know the machine is impartial. It doesn't reward the loudest or the flashiest. It rewards the disciplined and the durable. If this hit home, do something with it. Start today. Automate a transfer, cancel a vanity expense, pick one quality asset you understand and make your first small, boring purchase. Then, just repeat until bored, and keep repeating after that. If you want more straight talk strategies that actually compound, subscribe to MoneyQuest Broker, tap the bell, and drop a comment with your first target. $1,000, $10,000, or the big $100,000. Your future self will thank you for making this moment the turning point. This video is for education and entertainment only and is not financial advice. I'm not your advisor, and I don't know your situation. Always do your own research and consult a qualified professional before investing.